Welcome back to the Bullpen podcast, where we sit down with business builders, innovators, and leaders who are out there reshaping the industries from the inside out. Today, I'm joined by Nick Esparza, founder of the PM Network, a company that's redefining how homeowners remodel and build by putting transparency, trust, and true project ownership at the center of the process. Nick brings a rare blend of hands-on construction expertise, operational discipline, and an entrepreneurial vision. His Better Way model challenges the traditional contractor experience, replacing uncertainty and hidden costs with clarity, partnership, and a project management system built around the client. We'll dive into how Nick built the PM Network, what he's learned from years in the building and remodeling world, and the leadership principles that keep his company focused, efficient, and relentlessly client first. Nick, thank you so much for stepping into the bullpen.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All right. For our listeners who may not be familiar, at the PM Network, you talk about a better way of remodeling and building. Can you describe your model and what sets it apart from the traditional contractor approach?
Yeah, happy to do that. Under our model, what's significantly different is the client holds on to all their money. So this is like a whole new era of construction, right? So under the GC model, typically, when you start a project, they get half down, right? That could be a very sizable amount. And you just really hope that they're managing your funds properly, right? And a lot of times there's a lot of mismanagement in the general contractor model and issues with trades being paid, poor customer service communication, et cetera, et cetera. So the better way that we offer here with our clients is that they do get to hold on to all their money. So essentially what we do is we meet with them, we give them a ballpark figure, what it's going to cost to do their project. If that's digestible for them, then they pay us a $3,500 retainer. And we bring in all the trades to meet the homeowners. So this is unheard of. It's 3 per trade type. You get 2 or 3 trades to come in. For a day of bid walk, the homeowner gets to meet every single person that comes in. And then they submit their proposals to the client. We meet with the client and we go over each proposal and they choose who they want to hire for their project. So then we facilitate essentially the beginning stages all the way to the end of the project. Well, the homeowners pay the tradesmen their invoices. They pay for the materials out of their own pocket. So they just hold all that money. The only money they pay to the PM Network is our fee to facilitate the management process from start to finish. And we do have like a state-of-the-art platform that we use to keep everything like really tidy and neat. It's basically all in one area. So we have all the proposals, their insurance information, their numbers. The clients have access to this portal as well, where they can communicate with us. They can communicate with the tradesmen if they like. So that's just like a really small, brief explanation of what we do. We do a lot more, but that's just kind of a brief viewpoint. And, it is really challenging in construction when a homeowner feels like they have no recourse. Unfortunately, I've worked with GCs I've been a GC and I've worked with GCs in the past. And when I was a GC, I didn't like playing the game of you have to hide the numbers. Okay. You have to, because if you don't, it just opens you up to so many different questions. Well, what about this? This seems really high. And so if you really want to make money, you have to pad the numbers, you have to hide the numbers. And it's like a little game that you have to play. And it feels super dishonest. I don't like it. We did run a really tight ship with our company when we were a GC, but we always wanted to do something better. And when I went to work for other GCs, both in residential and commercial, I noticed that they didn't have that same mindset. So clients were taken care of, the tradesmen weren't taken care of, jobs were just like dragging on and on forever because they had no communication platform or good form of communication, and clients were just pretty much left in the dark. So we aim to just like fix all these issues where communication is like one of our number one strengths, because good, bad, or indifferent, if there's issues on the project, we're going to let you know and we're going to come with a solution like right away. And if you don't do that, if you try to hide it, it's so much worse later on down the road.
In today's building environment, how is the PM Network adapting so clients still get that value, timeline, and quality?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it hasn't really been an issue with us. Obviously, we've all felt the effects from COVID when it comes to supply chain issues and rising material costs. But a lot of that, like the lumber costs have come down, things have stabilized, so we don't really have any like supply chain issues realistically. And as far as labor goes, we have some of the most top tier talented people, and we have quite a few of them. So we never have like a shortage or an issue. Now, when we have 500 projects going at one time, then that might be a little bit different.
Good problem to have, definitely.
Absolutely.
Can you share one project you're especially proud of where you helped reduce costs or improve the timeline significantly?
Yeah, so this isn't unique to this particular situation, but I'm just going to share it because it was our very first project. So the very first project we did under the PM network, we saved the client $110,000 on their project. So they had uh, two bids, one for 350 and one for 400. And I think we got done for 240. So they were super ecstatic, really happy. They both bought a new car, paid for in cash because they had these surplus of funds to use. And they were really anticipating spending that 350 to 400. So when we came in and we beat it by 110 and they got to hold their own money, like they were just like shell shocked. So that, yeah, they got two nice cars. I think he even got a boat too out of the deal too. But yeah,
Wow.
that's one of the ones. That was our first one. And we also save money on with most of our clients. We don't really advertise that, but we do save money just because like all of our materials you get at cost. You get labor at cost. So we don't mark any of that up. The only thing that we have is our fee. So really you are getting a really good value add with getting things at cost.
That's incredible. Yeah. I would I would love to hear you're going to save X amount of money, and I would also love, as a contractor telling someone you're going to save this amount of money, just the joy felt
It's
on
such
both
a good
sides.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good feeling. Like in the look on their face is like it's priceless. Love it.
Definitely. Definitely. So for homeowners considering a major remodel or a new build, what are the top 3 questions they should ask a builder or project manager before signing on that can reveal whether a company operates with transparency and a client first mindset?
Sure. I would say number one is ask for three references, call them, ask questions, figure out what the project was like, how it was like working with them, what challenges there were, and any missteps and stuff like that, just to get a really good feel for them is the first one. You just want to make sure that with calling those references, you want to make sure to ask the questions about what steps they take to protect the client and ensure all trades are working efficiently and maintain quality control. That comes up a lot as an issue with quality control mismanagement, and it could be just as simple as a project manager has too many projects and he's kind of missing the ball. So you really need to have stuff implemented in place for that to make sure that you're not dropping the ball. We use specific specific task oriented things within our software to make sure that we don't miss anything, and that when things are coming up, it highlights it and points it out to us so we don't miss it. And then I guess the third one would be to ask the tradesman where every single penny is going for their project. And I 99.9% can guarantee that they will not be able to do that. They really don't want people know what their profit margins are and where all the different markups and et cetera, et cetera. So back to the game of being a GC, it's the game that you have to play, and nobody wants to share that information.
So you're building a client centric company in a sector often plagued by delays, cost overruns, and communication breakdowns. How do you build and maintain a culture of trust and accountability with your team and clients?
Honesty, it is the utmost important, to get ahead of issues and address them right away. Nothing breaks trust faster than trying to conceal a matter. So that honesty piece is really important. And I've heard so many different stories about people try to hide things or cover them up or something only to be found out later, which really wrecks the relationship. When it comes to costs, our clients know all their costs and all the selections have been made prior to starting their projects. So we eliminate surprises by being very thorough on the front end so we don't have like cost overruns. And we also use an analytical tool that checks manpower projections and costs of the project that people bid on it to make sure that it's going to be accurate. If they send me something and say, hey, we're going to have 3 guys out here for 5 days, I'm going to say, no, you need 5 guys and it's going to take 8 days and you're about 10 grand short. Right. So we can run that. And so that helps us to eliminate delays or surprises to the clients as well. We do have the wonderful communication system that I talked about. We're able to use to communicate with clients and tradesmen through our software. Additionally, we go through great lengths to ensure client is always up to speed on what is happening on their project. So, back to the communication being really important. We really over communicate, not to the point of being annoying, but it almost gets to that point, where clients are like, they feel so confident in your services and what you're providing to them, they don't need to hear about it. They don't. They're like, we're good. We trust you. We know you're doing a good job. But I still communicate those things because it keeps that momentum going and that trust there.
Absolutely. And with so many nightmare stories you hear about, to have that trust instilled feels great on both sides.
It does. And it really is when we work with a client, I look at them as a partner, right? Because we're not the general contractor. So we both have the same thing in mind, and that's to have a successful project, right? So being that we don't have to hide stuff and we're not being all sneaky and trying to do scope creep to get more money, or I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind scope creep. I make more money, but we really try to be that trusted partner so that we're not trying to push for things just so we can make more money. We really try to work within the client's budget and time constraints. I'll give you for example, February 15th, our clients are having a baby and we're not starting the project until December 1st. We got 76 days to add 2 new floors to a big vaulted great room. We have to knock out the office, move back the kitchen, do a bunch of structural stuff, and then add a office dining room down in the basement. So it's like 3 new rooms plus kitchen plus a new pantry attached to it. So quite a bit of stuff to get done in 76 days. That's where communication is really big. And so one of the things that we do on the front end prior to starting the project, we meet with all the tradesmen. We have a roundtable like Teams call or Zoom or whatever. Client has the option to sit in on this. And what we do is we game plan together. So we say we got 76 days. What are the challenges? What are some things that we can make us more efficient so that we can meet this deadline? And the customer gets to sit in on this and listen to hearing us all kind of collaborate together and come up. And then if he has any questions, he can just say, well, hey, I have this concern, or it's just not something that's really ever offered. So it's just a really unique, like really in-depth process that is really lacking, I think, in construction today.
Definitely. Definitely. Because I feel like you have so many different builders, specialists, and to see them all come together in one cohesive meeting, I think that's incredibly refreshing. So well done to you.
It is, and I just want to take one really quick second too. I'm not trying to knock, because there's a lot of really good GCs out there. It's just it could be a small amount of people that made a bad name for the whole lot of them. But it's what I hear more than anything, and that is the concern, the money, if I can trust them, like all these different things. And so when a client meets us and talks to us, by the time we leave, they're feeling really good. And I would say that we close 98% of our leads.
Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty rare.
Because yeah. I mean, when I, you know, look at the business from, 10,000 foot view, it just makes so much sense to me. So I can see
Yeah.
why your close rate's so high. So innovation versus execution often pull differently. How do you balance pushing new processes and technology in your business with the day-to-day operational discipline required to deliver dozens of projects on schedule and on budget?
Yeah, great question. So we didn't start a business and then innovate it. We innovated and started a business around it. So the PM network went to the drawing board first and really did vast amount of due diligence to pick apart the current models in construction to fix the broken parts. So being that we did that, we're not in a position where we're already in a business and then now we're trying to innovate. We have to restructure and change everything about our business model. We did the change and then started the business. So now we're already hitting the ground running and we don't have to recalibrate, right? So we're in a really good position as far as that goes. I talked again earlier multiple times about communication, transparency with costs, the innovation part about clients managing their own funds. They The client gets to know the real numbers. They get to know exactly what they're paying this guy, exactly what their materials are costing, exactly what they're paying us. And it's really nice having that cost breakdown. Our scheduling platform is also very innovative, and we've created it. We used kind of a platform that allows you to make your own kind of thing, and it is very high tech. And so we really made it and developed it to be centered around a hub of client, tradesmen, and consultants, basically. And it does work really well. The tradesmen have access to it. I will say they don't use it very often, but some do. Some see the value in it. And some people just aren't very techy, right? They're like, I don't want to be on a computer and do all that stuff. So I get a phone call or a text. But outside of that, I think futuristically speaking, it's going to be something that people engage with more and more as we implement certain parts of the system and teach people how to use them. It's very simple. I mean, it takes 3 minutes to learn how to use your system, which is great. Better than convoluted and overly complicated, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Simplicity is key.
Yes.
With the trend towards smart home sustainability and more custom work, how do you see the remodeling slash new home building industry evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? And how is the PM network positioning itself for that?
Well, look, I think we can all agree we have a housing shortage in the United States, and millions of people, either want to build new, renovate, or add on to their existing home. Contractors will be busy, but they will be less busy once our model takes off and grows. If you had two options, know my real costs up front to the penny and you manage your own funds, or B, have all the real costs hidden. GC manages your funds and you hope, you can be trusted with, which direction are you going to go if those are your options. And we are positioning ourselves in multiple different ways for the next 3 to 5 years. We're based here in Minnesota, right? We're local, but we do want to take it regional and then national. And we're also positioning ourselves for a DIY if you want to manage your own project yourself. So we have project setup. This is a remote project setup that we can help out with if someone is a DIYer. If they have any issues on the project, questions or something after we get it all set up for them, we do remote project management. And that's also part of the program too. You can DIY it. You can DIY it and use us a little bit, or you can decide to not DIY it and just hire us to remote project manage your project. So that's couple of the areas that our focus is on in the next 3 to 5 years. And I would say it probably in the next 1 year we're gonna have the DIY software up and running. We're just making some transformational changes with the people who create the tech, right? And really kind of finalize it. So I think we're about 6 months to a year away from that.
Okay. But all exciting, all the same. It'll be here before you know it. These things tend
So
to move.
fast.
As a founder or a leader of the PM network, what qualities, sorry, do you look for when hiring project managers or leadership within your team?
I don't think that everybody would subscribe to this, but I do look for people who are more qualified than I am. I really look for people who understand our mission and can align with it. That's really, really important, because if you can't align with our mission and the direction that we're going, then we don't want you here because you're somewhere else. You're not in the right headspace. So I really do make it a point to hire people that are better project managers than I am, have better construction knowledge, because in doing so, I'm providing a better service to our clients, right? So I'm really good at project managing. I've done it with residential, commercial, could be an addition or a ground up new build. But also, with working in a business like this, you really have to be at the helm of it. You can't be in the day to day operations all the time, which I currently kind of am half and half right now. Um, and so I really want to make sure we have a trusted person in that place that's going to represent us well and carry the vision of our model and believe in it. That's really important. If they don't believe in it, then why are you here, basically?
Yeah, that all makes sense to me. And yeah, it is valuable, and especially when starting a business.
I want to see, their passion and creativity when they're working for us. So if they're not passionate, if it's just something they're coming to clock in and out and go home, I just don't feel like, you know, I feel like you can just go work anywhere then if you're going to do that. But if you really believe in something like this, and you do have that passion, then you're going to fit really well here. And I know a lot. I do. I know a lot of people actually that fit into that category, which is great.
For someone looking to move into leadership or construction, remodeling, or project management, what advice would you give about getting the right experience, mindset, and networking experience?
Find a successful company that has integrity, treats their clients, tradesmen, employees well. Learn from them, do what they do, be part of the team, follow the company vision, and ask questions. And one of the biggest things is like be humble and work hard. You um, I've worked with a lot of people that are not very humble in the industry. I actually found that those guys ended up being wrong in a lot of stuff more often than the guys that were humble, would ask the questions and wanted to just work hard. So I think it's just a whole mindset, that you got to be in. And when you find the right company, you'll know by their character and how they operate. And I mean, that's how I found out, was working for other companies and seeing how their models worked and things of that nature. And it sucked because it was such a turnoff. The guys were nice. The guys were nice. And I think they really truly meant well, but they just didn't know how to manage other people's money or to really give that whole presentation of the client is first and the client isn't a dollar sign. Okay, that's rule number one at the PM Network. Our clients are not dollar signs. We're partners. We get to work on the projects together and come up with a really cool system to get it done. And it's really cool seeing the plan execute as we go through the process.
That's that's great. I mean, that's the any business. That's just the right mindset to client
Mhm.
first approach and let everything else take care of itself. But that's going to be a wrap on today's episode. Nick, thank you so much for joining today. And for anyone listening, I hope this episode gave you a new lens on what great project management and great leadership look like. Whether you're building a home, building a team, or building a business, Nick's story shows that innovation isn't always about new tech. Sometimes it's about rethinking the fundamentals and delivering on your promise every time. Enjoyed this episode? Be sure to follow the Bullpen podcast wherever you tune in and share it with someone who's thinking about starting a project or pursuing a big idea of their own. Nick, thank you so much again for joining us.
Dylan, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate you guys. And we'll talk to you next time.